pledge allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I would like to advise those present that notice of this regular meeting of the Housing Authority of the City of Hoboken has been provided to the public in accordance with provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act. Notice of this regular meeting has been rescheduled for Tuesday, June 20, 2023, was given by publication of the revised annual meeting notice of the authority with amendments as necessary and was sent to the Jersey Journal and Star Ledger on Monday, June 12, 2023, as notification to the general public of the meeting. Sent to the City Clerk of Hoboken on Monday, June 12, 2023, with a copy of the agenda to be posted on the bulletin board in City Hall, Hoboken Library, and Hoboken Police Department, and posted in City Hall, Hoboken Library, and Hoboken Police Department, and posted on the authority website on Monday, May 12, 2023. I direct the minutes of this meeting to state that I have announced that adequate notice of this meeting has been given as required by the Open Public Meetings Act. So, do we have anyone signed up for? Oh, Director, roll call.
Roll call. A. Forbes.
Present.
A. Impastato.
Here.
A. Lewitt. Here. B. Reyes.
Here.
M. Russo.
I made it, yes.
J. Sanford.
Present.
E. Seitzman.
Aye. Here.
And Mr. Director, if you can, you'll note that I'm also present on the phone. This is Harold Fitzpatrick, General Counsel.
Ken, I would like to note that Harold Fitzpatrick, General Counsel, is on the phone.
Nice.
Thank you. Aisha Rivera,
Why I have to be first?
you were the only one who signed up, Aisha.
I'm the only one?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that would be me. Hi everyone, it's a pleasure. Okay, I have two issues. One is the packages that have been getting stolen for the last few months. I don't know what's going on. They've stolen packages from me a lot of times. I've gotten them back from my Amazon, but Amazon's not believing me anymore. Okay, just this past Saturday, I went to the precinct and I filed the report, so I think they're gonna come and ask you guys something or anything. Because it wasn't there, not even 5 minutes. And I come downstairs, I see my phone, it was delivered. When I went downstairs, it was gone. They took it, they ripped it open, took the stuff that was in it, and put the empty box in the garbage can inside the mail room. Okay, and ripped my name off, and just like nothing. Very disrespectful. We have cameras there. We're supposed to have security with the doors. What's going on, you know? And it's not people that live here. Okay, it's people that live outside that stay here with other people. And the other thing is maintenance. Maintenance is lousy in this building. It's become a shambles, you know? It's terrible. You know, I don't know why we don't have Bobby. You know, why can't we petition to have Bobby here permanently, you know? That's about it, you know? Our maintenance is terrible, terrible. Okay, she's hardly ever here. It's just terrible. Our lawns are never cleaned. Only when they come and they mow them, that's the only time it's clean. Our hallways are never mopped. Okay? The elevators smell like pee most of the time. So I don't know why we have maintenance if they don't do their job. And that's about it.
Thank you. Promise you we'll look into it.
Thank you very much. Thank you
First
very
step
much.
first.
Thank you very much. And everyone complains about maintenance. I don't think it's only me. Okay?
Thank you, Aisha.
Very mean to the tenants, okay?
No, that would be all for our public portion, Director.
Thank you.
And that's all the half of it.
Motion to close public portion.
Motion.
Second.
All right, ready for my report?
Yeah, don't you call the,
You can call the general, just all in favor.
all in favor?
I lost track of that one, sorry.
Sorry.
All right. A brief update on where we are. We're working on the special Harrison Gardens fund allocation. That's the design for closing off the Harrison Gardens courtyard. We're also working on a special defensible space issue over at Andrew Jackson North. Both of those are in design. Is Sergeant Collins here too yet?
Yes, he is.
He's hiding back there. So now that I've said about defensible space and the things we're doing, I would like to give a big thank you right now to the Hoboken Police Department. We had an incident this past weekend on Father's Day, and this morning you made an arrest?
Yes,
This afternoon. Just incredible. I mean, their work on finding out who the perpetrator was and making sure that people out there know that if you're going to have a crime on the Hoboken Housing Authority, we're not going to rest until we find you. Sergeant, want to say a thing or two?
Sure.
Sergeant Collins, Hoboken Police. On Father's Day on Sunday, in the area around 2-ish in the afternoon, we had a shooting in the area of 5th and Jackson. It was one single shot. There was a quick response. After we got the information, the investigation took off from there. It was directed at one person. The cameras work, I can assure you. The investigation took off from there. Detectives Tyler Soto and Fabian Quinones investigated it all Sunday into the nighttime. We identified who the actor was. By the end of the night, we had approval from the prosecutor's office. We charged the person. It's not a secret now. It's out on social media. It's Keyshawn Crandell. He was charged with attempted murder, weapons offenses, and there's a charge for widespread injury, possibly causing it as well. There were a bunch of people out when he fired the gun. He is innocent until proven guilty in the court of law, but the case is now complete. He was arrested this afternoon without incident, and he was checked into the Hudson County Jail.
Well,
Any questions?
thank you for that, and you know, we're in touch all the time.
Yep.
I mean, all the time. So we really appreciate what you guys are doing out there.
Thank you.
Not an easy job. We are applying for a special security grant from HUD, which at the end of this month is due. Corinne's hot on it. We've been working on it, and we hope that will pay for many of the security improvements on the fencing issues that we're coming up with. We are holding some special strategy meetings with our attorneys. We expect a number of court actions to be filed soon, including the newest one. We have begun the installation of, I should change this from my report. We have completed the installation of additional security lighting throughout the Housing Authority. And I think if you walk around at night, you're going to see the great work that Mr. Sammy has done with our electrical contractors of identifying those places and lighting them up, including the basketball court and some areas in back. We are also, as the same thing with that, by the way, is we've got the contractors coming to raise the tree lines so the light can get down where the trees, we're constantly fighting that every year, but they're coming again at the beginning of the summer to make that happen. We're going to have a round of meet and greets during the end of June and July at all of the sites, so I'll be seeing you all out at the developments over the next 4 weeks. Going on to our Hoboken Housing Forward, our redevelopment project. We had just an excellent meeting at the Boys and Girls Club on the 15th. Want more people to come, but we had an excellent meeting, and we had some good representation. We had breakout groups to talk about design issues, to talk about a number of units issues to talk about how long the project was going to take and how some of our decisions as we move forward, if we have higher buildings, the project's going to take longer. If we have more space, the project's going to take shorter, et cetera, et cetera. So we've been working on that. The city redevelopment consultant is about halfway through their project. This is the consulting team, again, hired by the city to do the redevelopment plan. We are in touch consistently with them, but they gave their second report to the community on June 15th. Our first going through number was back on March 22nd. That was over at 221. This one we held at the Boys and Girls Club. We will have another public session coming up toward the end of their project, which will probably be in August. They'll be back to us to be talking to us about where they've come with all their input so far. So keep in touch on that. We're moving ahead and we're pushing. Staff and legal counsel are reworking our capital needs plan RFP. That's going to take us through a plan on how we're spending our money. As we do our redevelopment, the responses to our RFP for special legal counsel are in, and they're in front of you tonight with the professional procurement committee recommendation. An RFQ did go out for pre-qualification of developers, and we did have 8 responses. They are being reviewed by the committee that was chosen by me as a selection committee, according to our policy. They are going to be holding their 3rd meeting, I think, coming up, and next Monday. They will be working on pre-qualifying the responses to our RFQ, and then once we have those qualified developers, we will then be sending out specific RFPs. Now, the difference between an RFQ, request for qualifications, they're going to be qualified. Then we send out an RFP, request for proposals, which will be more specific about doing our first phase of our renovation project. So we're going to be following hot on its heels once these developers are qualified. Ms. Corinne, wherever she's hiding, is the chairman of that committee. Corinne? What else did I miss?
I think you said everything.
Pretty much it?
Yeah.
You guys are meeting Monday at 2 o'clock, right?
We are meeting Monday at 2.
Right. And Corinne's chairing that committee, and it's a really good group of folks. The list of that committee is in your book as the first attachment. Let's see, legal counsel, developers. We continue to meet with the enterprise partners. They continue to be our strong partner, along with our HUD representative, Mr. Ellis Wilson Henry. We are beginning our work on projecting our management needs and positioning into 2023 and beyond. We are going back out to HUD to reestablish what's called our CHAPS on all of our development. That's the permission from HUD to go into housing assistance payment contract. That's the HAP part of CHAP. Okay, it's a conditional housing assistance payment contract. So we were approved for all of our developments. We went ahead with Fox Hill. We've closed Fox Hill. We remained open at Adams and Monroe, and they put the rest of ours on what they call a portfolio award. HUD requested we do that. And now that we're ready to go out and get some development help, and we're as far as the stage we are, we've got to reinstitute our CHAPS. So I will be out at all of the developments doing a in-depth presentation with all of our residents on what that can mean to everybody as we go ahead toward our development process. That will happen this month as well. So I know that's a lot of complicated stuff, but it's there and it's moving along. I like to say sometimes we're off like a herd of turtles, but we really are moving well on this process, making sure we're dotting the I's, crossing the T's, and being honest. On policy and outreach, our newsletter has been out. I think our next one's in July, correct?
Yes, it is in July.
July,
Beginning of
thank you.
July, yes.
So if you've got any goodies for the newsletter, feel free to give them over to us. We had our Hall of Fame on June 14th. Wow. For those of you that were there, for those of you that weren't, come next time. It was absolutely moving. It was absolutely a tremendous evening. We did Jason Blanks, was one of our inductees. J.R. Lynch, and Kayla Fermate, all of which were incredibly moving young people that inspired us and made us walk away. I had a tear in my eye a couple times that night. Just such inspirational young folks that grew up in the Hoboken Housing Authority, that the Hoboken Housing Authority allowed that opportunity to them to move toward in their lives and their careers. And their careers range from one of the members as a member of the national championship UConn team that is now a coach in Manhattan, another that is coaching our kids on our Mama Johnson field, day in and day out, incredibly inspirational, and Kayla, who is an aide to a congresswoman in Massachusetts. And I mean, just, you gotta be proud of these guys. And we're ready to bring her back, right? And get her working here. Just tremendously great folks. So it was a great event, and as we have future ones, just keep in touch. It's inspirational.
I have a question, guys.
Yes.
First of all, hello, everyone.
Hello.
How far back are you going with the Hall of Fame from the HHA?
I think we'll go back to about 1900, if you got anything. How far do you want to go back?
No, I mean, first and foremost, I really appreciate the fact that we even had this as an authority. And there's been so many great individuals who came out of the authority. And since we started this, my phone has been ringing just a taste, to say the least. So the question that I'm being asked, how far back are we going when we start recognizing some of our residents?
That far.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That far.
I think we'll go back.
Because the appearance seems that we're stopping at a certain year.
No.
And from then till now.
No, not at all.
Just give us references.
Yes.
If you've got somebody, give it to me or Corinne, and we'll absolutely go as far back. No doubt about it.
Perfect.
That'd be great. Thank you, Commissioner. Our website, we're going to be designing a revamp to our website with everything happening. I think we need a couple new sections. I want to say that I continue to be available for meeting with our residents on a one-to-one basis. Come into our office and make an appointment. And I'll make an appointment to see you. If you just walk in, there's a good chance you're not going to get me. I do meetings for a living. It's hard to get me. If you can, I'll talk to you. But often it's hard if you just walk in. So make an appointment or call Lourdes or talk to your manager and we'll get you in. Renovation work is almost complete at Fox Hill. A final punch list inspection is going to be happening this month and we should be completing that work. We are meeting with our fee accountant. We hope next week, if not Friday, to start talking about funds for our next round of repairs at Fox Hill. Housing for Hoboken is meeting a week from today, June 27th at 7 p.m. The special allocation of capital fund money for Harrison is all under design. The main entrance gates. Remember, we are doing security camera installations on each floor at Harrison and each stairwell at Harrison. This money is going to fund that. Finally, we have the money to do that. It's going to repave the courtyard and it's going to refurbish the hallways and stairwells, painting and tread repair at Harrison. Again, that is a special capital fund grant just for Harrison. I can't spend it anyplace else except at Harrison. Good news, the week of July 18th, we will be starting to replace all the laundry room equipment. Yay. As many of you know, we had some contractual disputes with the company that's got it now. We finally got everyone to agree with the new company and the old company. The old company's getting their stuff out, the new company's coming in. So July 18th. So if you've got money on your cards, spend it. And if you got to put some on, just put enough, as much as you need, okay? So I don't know once they're gone. We'll go after them and try to get any extra money that's on the card back. But when they're gone, they're gone.
Director, could we send notices out to the residents, please?
Yes.
So that way they know. We're not held then.
We absolutely will. Absolutely will. Yeah. So we do have another camera system upgrade project, and that is not on the floors, but that's our infrastructure. That is the part of it that you don't see. It's the switches in every building. They're original. In every building, there's a switching center that sends the camera video out to the main camera location that we have. All of that infrastructure has to be replaced. It's aged out. So that project is under design now, should be underway soon. Monroe Gardens boiler replacement is in design. We're having a meeting with the design team this week to see when they can get it out to bid. REAC, UPCS, and what is now called Inspire. REAC is a thing of the past. Inspire is going to be our new HUD inspection system. Essentially the same. There'll be some changes. The staff is all doing the training in July on the new inspection protocol that HUD's going to have. But we did have our inspections done in-house. We found a number of things that were thematic through all of our units. We did have a number of units with sprinkler head damage. We've got paint. People may have painted and got some paint on the sprinkler head. Those have to be replaced. We're going through and doing plaster work in our units. I think our team is doing a great job on that. Jackie and her team are doing kitchen cabinet repair and replacement, and we're going through with window repair as much as we can. Windows are an expensive item, and it's something that this organization should have been doing years ago, but we're trying to find as much budget authority as we can to do repairs in your windows. The ones we found on inspections, we are repairing. We also found interior door replacement as a theme. We are bidding out documents now for, I think, 150 some doors, interior doors, all through our units. So we're asking a contractor to do that work. And on your agenda today is a request to approve a contract for sidewalk tripping hazard repair. It hasn't been done for a number of years here. One of our big REAC point issues with HUD inspections has been our sidewalks. You know, the Hoboken tilts, we call it, right? They go all over the place. They need to be repaired before our next inspection, because anything over about a ½ inch, we get points off. So we are going to be asking you tonight to approve a contract for a contractor to come in and shave those off and level our concrete sidewalks. We are, as a part of REAC, also producing in tandem with HUD a video training for residents that will be showing residents. It'll be on our website, and we'll be asking folks as they certify with us to watch a video on things that residents can help us with as well. Things like making sure that our egresses aren't blocked, making sure that smoke detectors are up, things like that, because those give us points off. So we want to get residents as our partners. We do expect our first inspections to be in October of 2023 at this point. Our vacancies remain good, with public housing at a 96% occupancy rate and Fox Hill at a 97% occupancy rate, both above our goal of 95, not quite to 98, but we're getting there. For public housing, 2 move-ins, 1 move-out, and 8 transfers. So we're hitting that transfer list. For those of you that have been on those transfer lists, I want to make a point of that. We only had 2 people that moved in. We had only 1 that moved out, but 8 people got transferred from units that may have been too crowded, or they may have not had enough people for their unit. Because if we're looking for a 4-bedroom, you got 3 people, you got to move. So we've done some of those. So we're hitting our transfers. But remember, when we do a transfer, that just creates another vacant unit, so it doesn't help our occupancy rate, but it does help living conditions. So we're out there working on it. And I know some folks have been on the transfer list for a long, long time. You come and meet with me and we talk about it, and I know it's tough for some folks, but we're going as fast as we can, and we can only do so many at a time. Fox Hill with 97%. We had 3 move-ins at Fox Hill, 1 transfer within Fox Hill, and 3 more were ready to occupy by the start of this past month. We keep working on our tenants' accounts receivable. I do want to encourage residents once again. We've entered many, many repayment agreements with folks. Don't forget them. Keep paying on your repayment agreement. That's a contract with us. And again, as we've said with this, as we came out of the pandemic, that we knew folks got behind on their rent, and we wanted to make an agreement with them to repay their rent. So we do not want to go to eviction with anyone over non-payment of rent. You know, and if you've come in, done a repayment agreement, whether it's 50 or 40 or 75 a month, please keep up with that so we don't have to come knocking on your door again and maybe threatening some further action. Our entire management staff has undergone a full 3 days of training this past month on tenant files, rent calculation, management procedures. It was a very good training aimed at eradicating any audit findings. You'll remember we've had an audit finding for a couple of years, more than that. So our management team is completely trained at this point. Housing Choice Voucher, we do have a submittal in for what's called Veterans Assistance or VASH vouchers. We have not heard anything from HUD yet, so we're just in limbo on that until they come back to us. We have been holding off on a project-based voucher ad to see if we got the VASH vouchers. Because if we get VASH vouchers, that will fit in with a project-based voucher ad. So we'd like to hold off until we hear something about the VASH vouchers. But we're ready to go. Harold, thank you for redoing the RFP on that. We really are ready to go. We just need a meeting with the fee accountant to see exactly how much money we have for other vouchers, but I think if we don't see something from the VASH voucher side, I think maybe by next month we ought to go ahead and publish the other one that may go out there for efficiencies, standing room only type assistance. Maintenance continues to go, and I know we will address the issues that you had, and I think it's mostly cleaning is what I'm hearing from you, cleaning and stuff like that. So we will continue to work on that with you, and I've got the maintenance department here, and maybe we can meet separately too on that. We are going to be modifying our work order system in the coming month. Our goal is August 1st. We are going to be going back to one number to call into work orders for everybody. Right now we have a system where you call into your manager's office and each manager handles the work orders and sends them to maintenance. We're going to centralize that system so we call in one number, everybody, and we answer those at central maintenance. We continue to accept applications for part-time and full-time building maintenance workers and mechanics. So we'd love to hear from anyone that's qualified out there. We are bidding out work now that would provide a regular 4-month cycle for stripping and waxing all of our floors. So the idea here is to have a contractor on tab. So every 4 months they come in, strip and wax all of our floors, all the way upstairs, all the way down the stairwells. So we're bidding that out. So we would then have a regular system of strip, wax, that would help out our BMWs, our cleaning people, and take that off of their shoulders. So we're going to be going out with that for a second time. We got prices, we did it once, we got prices back, and one was $300 and some thousand, and the other was $100, and didn't like either of them, so we're rebidding it and looking for other contractors. Attachment 4, major maintenance plumbing projects. And again, just to note, these guys are doing a ton of work out there. And then attachment 5 is major unit repair projects under Miss Jackie for the month. Extermination continues, right? It's just we have not conquered the rodent problem. We had a long discussion with the Health and Human Services folks at the city this past week. They're going to be visiting us Thursday and we're going to do a joint kind of putting our heads together. They're going to show us what they're doing, we're going to show them what we're doing. We're going to try to strategize together on what we can do because it's just aggravating. We don't seem to be able to get over the top on these critters, so they keep coming. And we are doing a lot. We're doing our weekly inspections. We've got bait stations. It's getting so bad that again they're dying in hallways here and there. They're all over the place, and we're doing everything we can to get rid of them. We've sanitized and painted all of our compactor rooms to make sure that that is not a focus for them. We've increased the number of trash bins. We're reworking any damaged trash chute doors so they can't crawl up those and come out the trash chute doors. Finance is working on our 2022 audit. Field work is complete. They're doing some final auditing, so we should have that in the next, we hope by the next board meeting, we should have last year's audit. HMFA billing project is closing out. As I mentioned earlier, the housing choice voucher budgets we're working on, and the VAST vouchers with finance, contract management with finance, and we are working toward our direct debit payments. How close are we?
The closest is approval from PH.
Okay,
Yeah, so I think last month,
almost there?
yeah.
Okay, almost there. Next month?
No,
No?
no,
Sooner?
next week.
Next week, okay.
What day?
What day? What time?
Yeah, no, seriously.
On
Someone's
Thursday.
already log in, the portal's already live, and someone already tried to make a payment, it was supposed to be live, and the bank rejected that payment, it's been sitting there, but that pending situation has been, I believe, taken care of.
Okay.
So we can look at that tomorrow, which means technically tomorrow, but by Monday.
Okay.
Let's get it done. Oh, yeah. We've been working hard on that, so thank you for your hard work, but I'll get it done, right. All right, and Mr. Daniel Perez is gonna give us a resident services update.
Well, thank you very much, Director,
You're so
Commissioners, everyone. Thank you so much. This is going to be fairly quick, right?
But you've been busy, Daniel.
I've been extremely busy, but I love what I do, so for me, it's really enjoyable to be able to spend time with the seniors. I just want to be able to quickly, I want to quickly highlight some of the stuff that we did in the past month or so. Really want to thank the City of Hoboken Spring Fling. We had some amazing volunteers that came in, right? And they beautified the north side of Andrew Jackson with fresh paint, fresh yellow paint, so everyone knows now not to park on the yellow, right? So please make sure. So really want to thank those volunteers for coming in. We had an amazing time. So also encourage the residents to also participate whenever we have these volunteer events to be able to beautify our property. And then right after, we had an amazing event, which I believe will become a tradition, which is a Southwest Festival. So it was an amazing event. Everyone came out, the residents came out, commissioners were there, the director was there, some of the staff was there, and also many of our neighbors were also there. So it was a great event, and I believe we're going to be able to continue to do this every single year. So we're really thankful to the City of Hoboken, Ruben Ramos, right? Thank Ruben for that. HBA was also part of this process as well. So really thankful to them for that. And Councilman Russo, of course, was there. Of course, without him, we couldn't have done this. Thank you for his amazing contribution. And I'm also thankful to, we have amazing partners in our community. I'm also really thankful to Joe Veronica. He continues to support some of our senior bingos, and he donated a bingo machine to the residents of 221 Jackson Street. He's also promising to also donate it to 220 Adams, right? So really thankful for his donation and support. Additionally, we have an amazing gentleman from Paul Presenzano from the Presenzano Civic Association. He has been supporting some of our senior bingos here and there, right? And he is coming on the 22nd. He's bringing Zach Alexander, who's going to delight us with yesterday's songs from Frank Sinatra. So really excited for that. We're going to be at 221 Jackson Street from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. on the 22nd. So everyone that loves Frank Sinatra, please come by and be delighted by some amazing music and some amazing interpretation. I really want to thank also Councilman Ruben Ramos. As you know, he represents the 4th Ward, an amazing individual, always contributing and supporting the residents of the Housing Authority. We were in Atlantic City last week. Amazing time with some of the seniors. Many of them won money, and they want to come back. So we want to keep that.
You didn't leave anybody there, did you?
Oh no, I don't think.
After they won, did you ask them for donations?
I did not. So really excited, Pastor. Thank you, Ruben, for donating those 2 buses to be able to take our wonderful seniors to enjoy a great time in Atlantic City. I also want to thank Phil Cohen. Phil Cohen providing transportation to the city of Hoboken. Thank you, city of Hoboken, for sending the hop over to Fox Hill and providing that transportation to our seniors to bring them down to 221 so that way they can board the bus to Atlantic City. So amazing partners, right? And amazing individuals that continue to serve and support the residents of the Hoboken Housing Authority. Everyone, thank you so much.
We also did barbecues at Father's Day.
Director, I just have 2 questions for you regarding your report. I know you said about the lighting, which is great, and I'm very happy. One of the lights is right next to my bedroom, and I'm not complaining, but I have a neighbor who's complaining that it's going right into her bedroom window, and it lightens up her entire bedroom. So I don't know if we could maybe adjust it, maybe move it away. Again, I'm not complaining about it, but it's next.
We'd be glad to do any of that adjustment. If you have a light that's causing light pollution, there's things we can
You know
do.
where it is.
Well, that's the good part of it, that we just put the light to where it reflects. And now, any complaints that we get, we can have them adjusted.
Yeah.
At least we know which ones to individually touch.
Simple solution, we turn it into oven.
I have blackout windows. It's not going to curtains. It's not going to bother me. And if it is, Rocco and Sammy would know. Another thing, you talked about the infestation of the mice that we're having. I'm a resident down there, right? And I see it. And I know some of the workers that live down there. But I think that no matter what we do, if we don't curb what's happening down there with the residents, the cookouts, the stuff that's happening, I get it. People want to have fun. You want to have a cookout. I get it. It's fine. But clean up after yourself. When you leave food on the floor, when you leave the food next to the garbage can, not in the garbage can, or even in, I know that for Memorial Day, I believe it was recently, you guys actually put a dumpster over by the basketball court, which caused, some friction. And I understood why it was there. It was not, very appealing, but I get why it was there. But you still have the residents that are having these barbecues, are not cleaning up after themselves. And to be honest with you, we're going to spend all this money on all this extermination, and if we don't curb what's happening down there and hold them accountable for cleaning up, we're wasting our money, is the absolute truth. So I think that we need to do something about that. I also think that we need to think about our policy, our 10 p.m. policy, and what's going on, because I know I received several complaints about things that are happening out there past 10 o'clock at night. And I think it's unfair that we always hold the police department accountable for, for what they're supposed to be doing, or we think they're supposed to be doing, but then we don't hold our residents accountable. And that's a big problem for me. And as the chairwoman of the board, I have to hold the administration accountable, right? So if we sit here for hours and we set up policies and we expect our residents to follow them, then the administration definitely has to start holding our residents accountable, no matter who it is. This weekend, there was a party that lasted to wee hours of the night. I don't know if there were any calls, but I did get residents, who called me to say what's going on. And, you can't pick and choose who you're gonna, who you're gonna hold accountable. It has to be everybody. So I think that we need to go back as a board, as the Board of Commissioners, go back, reevaluate this, and not only reevaluate it, but start holding our residents accountable. Because if we're going to redevelop, which we are, if we don't start holding them accountable now, no matter what we do and how much we beautify our community, it's never going to work. So
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate that. And I would suggest that we bring the security committee together with the police again this time period before the next meeting, because I think we do need to sit down and go over it. You know, I was out with them the one night at 2, 3 in the morning, and you know, it's just going to take that we continue to get out. I think they're doing a good job, but I think there's also other things we can do to get better at our relationship with them. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
And we will work on that.
Thank you.
Charlene,
Yes, Andrew.
can we get, I'm not sure, I was in and out, but can we get an update from Frank about the money owed for past due rent? I know we were at, almost a year ago, we were at 1.2 million. On the timeline that we were given then, it said that September of 23, we would start to go to the courts to evict. So I'm just wondering, we're coming up on that point, you know, where we're at, money owed and the court process. Thank you.
Hi, Andrew. Yes, so we are meeting with Matthew and the managers, and now we've compiled a list of the folks who now did not enter into repayment agreements, and the folks who enter into repayment agreements and have not been making payments on them. So
I'm sorry, I can't hear you. Is that on my end or?
I think it's on your end, Andrew.
if I get closer, does that help? Does that help?
Does that help? Because he's talking into the mic.
Let me see.
Yes,
Okay.
it does.
Yes, so where we are is we're meeting with Matthew this coming week. Fitzpatrick. And what we're doing is now for all the folks who did not enter into a repayment agreement, and for all the folks who enter into repayment agreements and have defaulted, that's going to be our first batch of letters that we're going to put out. The number is large, so it's a to-do. But we are getting together to strategize, I believe, next week.
And we should beat the September 23. If you can't hear me, you should repeat that. We'll beat the September 23 goal.
So, but what the director said is that we should be beating that September 23 of letters going out for the process beginning for the eviction. We won't be in court per se, people might not be evicted, but the process will now be in place.
20 minutes, over 20 or over, under 2 is over.
Andrew, are you listening?
Did you have a question?
Sorry, I just, is there something in the packet that shows the money owed still? Like an update, I know you were given that, is that in this packet?
I don't think we did an update on the accounts receivable this month.
There's a full one prepared that we can forward, but
Yeah, we can forward it over to even in between.
Yep.
Because we keep track of it on a month-to-month basis. But it's down significantly. Where are you from where we were at the beginning?
Well,
Yeah.
no, not really.
Yeah.
So our current outstanding is a little bit over $1 million.
Right.
And now we have 700,000 in repayments.
Right.
So technically, we did a great job with repayments, but way more people became delinquent at the same exact time. So it's not, they're not directly related. So yes, when we started last year, let's say if no new people became delinquent when we started this, we would be $1,000,001 minus 700, we'd be at 400,000.
Right.
But unfortunately, we did get the repayments, but then we're still at $1,000,001 of new and more. And the difficult part to understand about that is that if we have 100 outstanding people today, and next month I come to you with a report and I tell you that I have 100 outstanding people, it might not be the same 100 people. It's just 100 people in that particular time. So, but right now, our numbers in general are still not looking fantastic, and that's the problem, and that's part of the reason we do need to sit down and strategize. Emil and I are going to sit down and just go over, because there's an unusual amount of people that for whatever reason continue to not pay rent, and new people who are not paying rent. So maybe what would be most helpful at some point, if I can give you a report that tells you how many of these people are the same people, not names, but like out of the 100 people, 80 are the same. We have 20 new people that are staying. to kind of give you that balance of that, because that's something that kind of goes unsaid when you're just looking at numbers. If you're just looking at a dollar amount or a repayment amount, you're not really capturing the fact that, okay, this month, 150 new families didn't pay rent, right? All you're gonna see is that, wow, the numbers didn't go down, or in fact, they went up. But it could be just new families for completely new reason. So that's the frustration, but yes, to your point, we've gone through all the letters, we've gone through all the chances, we've gone through giving people some repayments, now we're getting people falling off the repayments. The very next step, and the only thing that we can do now, is to go to court. You know, and nobody wants to do that, but that's where we have to go. And like Barbara just said, like the chairwoman just said, part of it is accountability. We have to, at every turn here, it's accountability. We have to have accountability. We can't keep the lights on if there's no rent coming in, right? Subsidy is low and rent is where we're keeping the business open with, right? So we need everybody's help with paying the rent. And if you have a problem with paying your rent and if you need to get into our repayment, we're willing to work with you. But we have to find that balance, and we've got to do it together. We have to get to the point that we fix this problem one way or the other, but it's not pretty. But I will forward you what we have. It's already prepared, so it's not something that we have to prepare.
Thank you.
Thank you, Frank.
Any
Madam Chair.
questions, concerns? Yeah.
Madam Chair, I have questions for the director.
Sure.
So, Director, going back to the Hoboken Housing Forward update, can you help me to understand the criteria for selecting members of the HHA Developer Committee?
Yeah, the policy says that I'll select those, and I don't have the policy in front of me, but I'll select a kind of a diverse portion of the community. So what I did was select, I believe, 3 members of our staff that are familiar with development. Let me find the list here, Commissioner. So I can speak.
Please take your time.
I am. So we had 1 member of the board, which we spoke about here at the board meeting before, which is Aaron. We did 3 members of my staff, which is Corinne and Frank and Emil. We have Chris Brown, who is part of the city planning department, or his representative, which is RJ Thiefeld, RJ. 1 member, April Harris, which is a community representative. Ms. Harris is very strong in the religious community throughout Hoboken, and she is also a board member of Housing for Hoboken, so is very familiar with the issues. And last but not least, we have Joe McDonald, who's a resident advisory board member and represents the residents on that committee. The last 3 people listed are advisory. They are there just to give that committee advice. One is Ellis Wilson Henry from HUD. Another is Lisa, who does the financial stuff for us. And then there's our attorney, Harold Fitzpatrick. Does that help?
It does. Now, how many people should be on this committee? How did you determine that?
Our policy says 5 to 7 people.
5 to 7. So, is Mr. Theophile, was that Mr. or Miss?
That's a Mr. Yeah.
Is that person an alternate, or is that person a member of the 7?
No, he's actually an alternate. It's either him or Chris that attend.
Okay.
Either he or Chris Brown.
So, is there room for other persons to serve on this committee?
We've got a full 7 right now. And they've already started. I mean, they've already been, this will be their 3rd meeting, so I wouldn't add anyone at this point.
So, if I wanted to serve on this committee, there would be no chance for me to serve?
Right, it's too late at this point.
Why not?
Because the policy says 5 to 7 people, there's 7 appointed, and the committee's already started. They've already made a number of decisions, they've already looked at the files, they're already in process.
So, but how did you choose Commissioner Lewitt versus any of the other 9 commissioners?
Or seven commissioners?
Commissioner Lewitt's been involved, very involved in development in the past. I thought he was quite qualified. He worked for the enterprise folks. Commissioner Lewitt's been asking me and talking to me about this process from the beginning of the process. So I think he knows quite a bit about developers and how developments are done.
Is it fair to say that I have also been equally involved in asking questions regarding the development process?
I'm not too sure I want to answer that because Aaron's in my office almost every week talking to me, and you're not. I mean, I don't know when the last time we spoke, besides here at the meeting. I mean, it's been months, right, since we've spoken, or since you've come in and talked to me. So I got to be honest, no, you haven't been. Okay. Not like Aaron's been at all.
So my involvement on the Housing for Hoboken, starting that organization as a founding board member, that didn't happen. You never had a conversation?
No, I think he did a great job when we're selecting the committee members for the strategic plan. And we do appreciate that work and still appreciate that work. But since then, you haven't been very involved with us. You haven't been very involved with me.
What?
You haven't really talked with me. You haven't been in my office to talk to me about these things. Usually. But
I did, and I
year,
shared with you the reasons why I have taken a step back.
Can't argue. It is what it is. I have the right and the privilege of appointing these people.
I'm not denying that.
Good.
I'm not questioning it.
And I don't.
I'm asking why I was not considered.
And I think I just answered that.
Correct.
I don't believe so.
So we have another question, or?
I do have more questions.
Okay, great.
What are the 8 responses? Who are the 8 respondents?
I don't have them with me. Be glad to send them to you.
Okay. And for the sake of the public, can you define what pre-qualification of developers is?
Yes, to the developers, there'll be a number of questions that are asked the developers by the selection committee. Now, the selection committee does have the ability to define their own terms because they are a selection committee. But the RFQ did give a number of things that a developer has to have as we qualify developers. They have to be able to have the financial expertise to do that. They have to be known to have done other projects and developed other projects. So that selection committee has to look at their history, what their qualifications are. There's a number of things that I don't have in front of me. I don't know if Corinne could help to answer any, but we did put a list together, or she did, for the selection committee.
So will the chair of this committee then be responsible for developing the evaluation criteria of these respondents?
The chair and the rest of the committee, as well as Mr. Harold, has had input into that as well as Mr. Ellis Wilson Henry as a HUD advisory member.
Okay. Has that criteria selection been created yet, or is it in process?
I think the final will be created next Monday, that's my understanding.
So what is a fair...
But I'm not a part of that committee, so they've got their own business.
What is a fair expectation for the entire board to receive that criteria?
We would hope that we could have this in front of the board in July or August.
Nice.
Thank you. Amazing.
And when can the board expect the respondent, the names, the list of the respondents and their responsive bids?
We actually have those. I don't see any reason that any board member couldn't see the list of respondents and the actual bids.
Wonderful. So
They're
you can
online.
get that to me tomorrow.
Director, you can get it as soon as you have an opportunity
As soon
to
as I
send it to him.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Send that to me.
Well, it shouldn't be hard. No.
Any other questions?
One moment.
Wasting our time, Jada, let's go.
So when developing this committee, I presume you were...
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Couldn't hear you.
Sure. When developing this committee, I presume you worked with HHA counsel.
I think this was my decision.
This is your decision?
Yeah.
Okay. What, if any, due diligence did you do on the members of this committee?
I know each and every member of the committee. I know their background, I know what they've done in the past. I know each and every one of them.
So with that in mind, it's fair to say that you have reviewed any financial disclosure forms that they have been required to fill as members of, say, being city employees?
No, that's not fair to say because I didn't.
Okay, so you didn't. That's what I'm getting at.
Is this a question or
I'm
an
not sure what you're
argument?
getting at, but.
I'm getting at, have you reviewed any financial disclosure forms related to any of these individuals?
No.
Okay, that answers my question.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Director, could I, if you don't mind, a follow-up question? Don't all these members of this committee, as their role either in the city of Hoboken or serving on an authority or an advisory board, fill out a financial disclosure to the state of New Jersey?
No, I don't believe they would. Not as we do as commissioners, or I do as an executive director, and I believe you do as commissioners.
Right.
These folks that were in this ad hoc developer committee, I don't think would fall under the law to have to fill out their full disclosure form like I do or you do.
Thank you. Any further questions?
Yes.
I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I apologize for not being, fully prepared for this, because I had scheduled around that meeting last Thursday, so I have something going on right now, which is sidetracking, but, who's on what is this development committee? I'm sorry, I'm sure you have to repeat it, but how many members are on it? Is it somewhere in the package?
Yes, it is. It's part of the attachment to the director's report, Andrew.
It's your first attachment.
I won't waste your time. I'll go look at it, and if I have any questions, I'll ask them. Yeah, that's okay.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
So my next question is for HHA council. So having gone
Council?
through, Harold, can you hear me?
Council, are you here?
Yes, Commissioner, I can hear you.
Okay, so having gone through those questions that I just asked the director about due diligence and whether any of the people on this HHA developer committee are subject to financial disclosures, my understanding is that they are not, according to the law. Is that correct?
Well, I can't speak to all of them. They may be subject to some sort of financial disclosure in their other functions, such as the city people, but they're not subject to any disclosure, as the executive director said.
Should we take that extra step of security and ask for financial disclosures?
But I think it would be too late now. This policy was established several months ago when the Board of Commissioners established a special procurement provision for this committee. And if you had the thought of doing that, that would have been the time to bring that up. It is not a requirement for their serving on this committee. Our employees probably would regard it as an invasion of privacy and inappropriate under our personnel policy. As to other people, they're people in some cases who volunteered, and you'd have to ask them for that information. Any idea of establishing an additional threshold policy is, as far as I'm concerned, water under the bridge at this point.
Could I ask a question?
Sure, Commissioner.
Is there a concern for any individual, or is there any facts that maybe some of the other board members or the attorney don't have that you would like to share with us, or even confidentially? Commissioner?
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
I choose not to answer.
Okay.
Thank you.
So, are you saying, council, that the HHA board doesn't have the power to amend its policies after the fact?
No, I didn't say that. The committee's already been created and it's already started its function.
Okay, so the board could, if it decided, to amend the policy.
Well, if it amended the policy, how could it apply to people who've already been appointed? I think that would be unfair to everybody, the current members, any authority process that we've already created has already happened. We're already in process. As the executive director said, this is a fait accompli. This is not something that comes up now. And I agree with the commissioner who asked whether or not you're aware of anything specific, because short of that, we're just tilting at cloud windmills here. We're creating a situation that has no factual basis. If it has a factual basis, I think you'd have to put it forward.
I
Thank
see.
you, Harry.
So I do have a factual basis, and I will address that with you, council.
Okay, I'm
Feel free. I won't change my position on the fact that these people have already been appointed, though. I'd be glad to look at whatever facts you have.
That is not the question I asked. That is not the statement I made. You asked me if I have a factual basis. I do have a factual basis, and I will address that factual basis with you.
Thank you, Commissioner
Feel
Sanford.
free.
Can we move on? Okay. It's carried. Resolution number 2023-0601, resolution of the Housing Authority of the City of Hoboken to approve the meeting minutes for May 11th, 2023 reorganization board meeting.
Motion.
Second.
Direct questions, concerns?
If not, A. Forbes,
Yes.
A. Impastato,
Yes.
A. Lewitt. Yes. B. Reyes.
Yes.
M. Russo.
Aye.
J. Sanford.
No.
E. Seitzman.
Yes.
Resolution number 2023-0602, resolution of the Housing Authority of the City of Hoboken to approve the meeting minutes for May 11, 2023, regular board meeting.
Motion.
Second.
Questions, concerns? Director, roll call.
A. Forbes,
Yes.
A. Impastato,
Yes.
A. Lewitt.
Yes.
B. Reyes.
Yes.
M. Russo.
Aye.
J. Sanford.
No.
E. Seitzman.
Yes.
Resolution number 2023-0603, a resolution of the Housing Authority of the City of Hoboken to authorize the payment of the monthly list of bills.
Motion.
Second.
Questions, concerns? Director, roll
A.
call.
Forbes,
Yes.
A. Impastato,
Yes.
A. Lewitt.
Yes.
B. Reyes.
Yes.
M. Russo.
Aye.
J. Sanford.
No.
E. Seitzman.
Yes.
Resolution number 2023-0604, resolution of the Housing Authority of the City of Hoboken to authorize an agreement with the Housing Authority of the City of Jersey City for HQS inspections of HCVBP apartments and the annual RAD OCAF calculation.
Motion.
Second.
Questions, concerns? Director, I have a question. Do we have anyone who is trained to do this inside?
Yeah, well, we just don't have enough units to hire somebody.
Okay.
You know, they're big enough that they have a number of people that do this. It's easy for them to absorb the under 200 units that we have, so it just doesn't make sense for us to do it.
Okay. No worries. Call, roll call.
A. Forbes. We've got you, Reverend. I don't know if Reverend's still on.
I think he dropped.
A. Impastato,
Yes.
A. Lewitt. Yes. B. Reyes.
Yes.
M. Russo.
Aye.
J. Sanford.
No.
E. Seitzman.
Yes.
Resolution 2023-0605, a resolution of the Housing Authority of the City of Hoboken to enter into a collective bargaining agreement for residential construction with Liuna Residential Construction and General Service Workers Local Union Number 55.
Motion.
Second.
I would like to call upon some representatives of this labor union number 55 to come up and say hello to us.
Sure.
And as we do that, I would like to just say as they come up here, Montanique, she comes up here, I would just like to say that this relationship has been tremendous for us. They've been doing our unit turnovers for us. They're working really, really closely with Jackie. Jackie has formed a great partnership with them, making sure that our work gets done on time, making sure that, if you remember, a year ago when we were back on the vacant unit issues and and all the work that we've had to do and where we are now with the 96 to 97% occupancy. A lot of that's due to our relationship with Local 55, and we'd like to have this agreement renewed and go from here.
Yes, thank you very much, Director, Chairwoman. Thank you, Commissioners. Thank you for having us. And we've been working, I apologize, my name is Martinique Costa. I'm the agent with Laborers Local 55. Our business manager, or Hector Fuentes, is here as well. Hector Fuentes is the business manager. And we would like to thank you for the relationship. We've been working on and off with the Housing Authority since 2012. We've had Hoboken residents working with us, but we have a great relationship with the staff, the residents, and we thank you for the opportunity to just, continue to get that vacancy rate low. And, it's a great relationship between everyone, staff, commissioners, residents, and our members are very happy here. They consider it part of the family. So thank you for the relationship, and if there's anything we can do to continue to grow, help it, we're here.
And I think you've saved us quite a bit of money over time, and you've also managed to train many project area residents. The people that I think come in through Local 55 are people that are honestly looking for work and looking to be trained, and they follow through with that all the time. And I gotta say, now and then somebody's good enough that we steal them from you.
Yeah, we've had those issues, but yes, we do have a Department of Labor approved apprenticeship program. We recruited Hoboken residents, put them alongside with people who know the trade, and they're up to doing the trade on their own. It's repetition, going into units and doing the work every day. Hoboken is very well organized. There's, all levels of your staff. The materials are there. Everything is there on time. Communication is excellent, and that's how the units are able to get turned so fast.
And to be turned so well too. We appreciate your work.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I just want to say that I second what she says, because they did my department and did an amazing job. So
Yes.
thank you.
Thank you, Chairwoman. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate you. So now a vote?
I have a question.
Yes.
For council?
Yes.
So within the agreement, there is Section 6 NJ PAC. In the event the union requests that residential laborers authorize contributions to the New Jersey Political Action Committee, the NJ PAC, or other such funds specified in the attached appendices, the employer agrees to make all such authorized wage deductions and remit them to the New Jersey Building Laborers Statewide Benefits Fund, NJBLS, and the NJ PAC, or such other fund at the same time as union dues check off is due and payable. Can you help me to understand, Council, what that means?
It's one of the benefits that was negotiated with the union. Union has a number of individual items, if you look at the entire document, that they collect money from the various payments that are made to their employees for various things that they've identified they want to have as part of the benefits available to their employees. And this is a fairly standard provision for a lot of unions to have a political action committee and to collect money that is paid on behalf of their employees in favor of that committee.
And
the authority has absolutely no involvement with respect to the decision to have this process or as to how the money might be collected or used. We're simply a pass-through like we would be for Social Security or Medicare or any other benefit.
So are we aware of what donations or contributions that NJPAC is making within the state of New Jersey?
Not only are we not aware, I'm not sure it would be any of our business.
Why would you say that? Why would it not be any of our business?
Because this is a benefit that is negotiated with the union, and it seems to me that it would be an invasion of the union's turf to start asking how the political contributions might be used. This is a matter of law that's gone up to the Supreme Court and otherwise been debated for years.
Well,
and it's totally appropriate in the state of New Jersey to have such a provision.
Before
and we're not, let me finish, and we're not party as to how they may be made. In fact, if we were to look into it and some commissioner were to not be happy with the contributions, I think not only would we be in violation of an existing contract that's been around for quite some time, but probably in violation of the employees' rights.
Well, I'm not speaking to any of that. Allow me to go into a little more detail. Before I was removed from the procurement committee, we routinely had vendors present and respond to bids, and part of that bid process was to share what political contributions, if any, they made. Is that jogging your memory?
Well, that's correct, but it's completely different. This is not a bid, this is not a procurement. This is a negotiation with a union. It's a completely different premise. And I'll point out to you that the reason why we do that for bidders is because there is law with respect to whether or not a bidder can make a contribution to somebody who might have an impact on the contract. It's not true with respect to a union negotiation. It's completely different.
But you understand that it is a resolution that is before this board. And I am asking
Well, there are a lot of
questions.
resolutions before this board. They don't all fit into the category of procurement.
Okay.
This one does not.
Thank you, Harold. Thank you, Harold. If there are no further questions, could we call a vote, Director?
A. Forbes. A. Impastato.
Yes. Yes.
Both of them said yes.
Did we get through Forbes and Impastato?
Yes,
We
both
did.
said yes.
A. Lewitt.
Yes.
B. Reyes.
Yes.
M. Russo. Aye. J. Sanford.
No.
E. Seitzman.
Yes, aye.
Thank you.
Commissioners. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Continue the great work.
Yes, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Resolution number 2023-0606, a resolution of the Housing Authority of the City of Hoboken to award a contract for walkway maintenance.
Motion.
Second.
Questions, concerns?
I referenced this earlier in my report.
Yes, you did. Roll call, Director?
A. Forbes.
Yes.
A. Impastato.
Yes.
A. Lewitt.
Yes.
B. Reyes.
Yes.
M. Russo.
Aye.
J. Sanford.
No.
E. Seitzman.
Yes.
Resolution number 2023-0607, a resolution of the Hoboken Housing Authority of the City of Hoboken to ratify the June 14, 2023 award of an emergency contract for abatement to a sprinkler system in multiple locations.
Motion.
Second.
Questions, concerns? Director, roll call.
A. Forbes.
Yes.
A. Impastato.
Yes.
A. Lewitt.
Yes.
B. Reyes.
Yes.
M. Russo.
Aye.
J. Sanford.
No.
E. Seitzman.
Yes.
Resolution number 2023-0608, a resolution of the Housing Authority of the City of Hoboken to award a contract for special legal services repositioning of public housing.
Motion.
Second.
Questions, concerns?
Madam Chair,
Sure.
I just want to say that we personally, the procurement committee had 2 or 3 meetings on this. We did our homework, we worked with our legal team, they felt very comfortable with it. I think the 3 people on the procurement team, committee feel very comfortable with these choices. It's been vetted, all I's, all T's, everything's crossed, in multiple ways. So I just wanted you to know that.
Thank you, Erica. Director?
Oh, I have a question
Sure.
for council.
Yes, Council?
So, council, just so that we clarify, would this resolution that's before us have had any due diligence regarding donations or contributions of this entity?
Yes.
What, if any, contributions were found?
None.
And was that for the state of New Jersey or at the federal level?
State of New Jersey, that's the form that applies to this procurement.
Not at the federal level.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Director. Roll
But
call.
that would include any federal official who runs for office in the United States who is voted on in New Jersey.
Thank you for that clarification.
A. Forbes.
Yes.
A. Impastato.
Yes.
A. Lewitt.
Yes.
B. Reyes,
Yes.
M. Russo,
Yes.
J. Sanford,
No.
E. Sights.
Yes.
Resolution number 2023-0609, a resolution of the Housing Authority of the City of Hoboken to enter into a shared services agreement with the Housing Authority of the Township of Irvington.
Motion.
Second.
Questions, concerns?
Yes, as again, I've stated for all resolutions regarding the practice of piggybacking, I am voting no on this resolution.
Thank you, Commissioner. Director, roll call?
A. Forbes,
Yes.
A. Impastato.
Thank you.
Yes.
A. Lewitt. Yes. B. Reyes,
Yes.
M. Russo,
Aye.
J. Sanford,
No.
E. Sights.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioners. Before we close, I just have some sad news to share with you guys. It saddens me. I don't know if many of you know, but Hopes did lose the employee that was working over at the Family Resource Center. Ms. Cruz, who's also a Hoboken Housing Authority resident. She passed away last Sunday. So it's with great sadness that we report that. So I know you guys may have some questions about the Family Resource being closed. Unfortunately, we are in the process of hiring. My staff is taking it very hard, so we're taking it slow. We also don't want to make the family any more uncomfortable because they're from the community. So we are in the process of hiring someone, but if anyone from the Housing Authority needs help, we do have Curtis Rivera who is there some days he's out on the road. If there's no one there, please refer them to 301 Garden. We do have staff there Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. If it's a senior that can't make it up there, call me. I will have one of the advocates come to one of the community rooms and try to help as much as we can. And we also lost a young lady, 18 years old. We didn't lose her here in Hoboken. We lost her in Reading, Pennsylvania. She was here. She was from Hoboken. She's actually the granddaughter of one of our RAP board members, Natalie Klassen. So, I just wanted to extend our condolences on behalf of the Board of Commissioners to the families.
Madam Chair?
Sure.
May I just make one statement?
Sure.
I just think it's important because I want our partners to know this as a Democrat and as someone who staunchly believes in the union's right to collectively bargain for their workers' rights. I also believe in their ability to collectively advocate and use their money in their PAC to do so. I think it's important that we make that distinction. This is not an individual, this is an organization. They do that together. They do that when they advocate for their workers' rights, but they also do that when they're bargaining for those workers' rights as well. And I think it's important to know that both of those things go hand in hand. So as a commissioner here and as a councilman in the city of Hoboken, I fully support that right, and I will continue to support that right for your union and all the unions in the state of New Jersey.
Thank you. Sure.
This is new business, Chairwoman.
Wait, hold on one
Sure. Andrew, would you like to go first?
Go first.
Oh, no, someone else got, I'm sorry, I didn't hear it.
Yeah, that's okay. I'm just saying that I am a member of CWA and New Jersey City University, and CWA does I don't have the exact language because I wasn't prepared, but they have a huge PAC, and they are right now fighting in Trenton for our contract. So I know where the money goes, like they explained to us, but they're the part of my money that goes to Trenton to help get a better contract. So it's all over. So we thank them for their work. And I also wanted to say, if anybody has something that's that needs to be said, then come to us. But what gets me a little bit upset, and I'm sorry, I'm only speaking for myself, is that I trust everybody here in this room and in this board. And I think that we have come a long way, and everybody here wants to redevelop and wants to do the right thing. So it's a little bit upsetting when people are, on all levels, are saying that we are not doing the right thing. If someone has some information and it has to go up the chain, by all means. But other than that, I would like to think that all of my colleagues here on the phone are doing the right thing, and we should have that mindset of we are always doing the right thing if first chance by chance we are not, then we address it then, but not the opposite way around.
Thank you. Andrew?
Yes, thank you. This is, what I'm about to bring up is, had nothing to do with, any line of questioning by anybody else, that it's just a coincidence.
I'm sorry, Andrew, I can't hear you. Did we lose it?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
This has nothing to do, this is just a coincidence that I'm bringing this up in this meeting. So please don't feel like they're tied together. But I did come to my attention that a donation, a political donation was made from Director Recco to Councilman Russo. And I addressed this with Councilman Russo. We had a discussion because I thought that was the right thing to do. But I am curious, and I do think that it's something that needs to be addressed, that our director is making donations to commissioners that are also responsible for the hiring and firing of this position. I don't think that is a good look, and it's a good deal, at least in my mind. I'm not sure if Councilman Russo gave the money, the donation back. It's none of my business if he does. I just wanted to make this clear in a public portion so that, you know, it's important. I would hope that if something like this, I was doing something like this, or giving donations to those that were responsible for the hiring and firing of my job, that people would bring it up as well. This has nothing to do with the overall performance that Director Recco does. I just think that it's an act that's not very, it just doesn't smell right. And I know he has the ability to donate to whoever he wants, but it also strikes me that he's not a resident of Hoboken. So I don't see how, being a resident of another city, you would donate to a councilman in another city, how that would impact your residency or daily life when you're living in another city. So the way I would look at it is it's just a simple friendly gesture from a director to someone who's responsible for the overall health of his position. That's it. I just wanted to bring that out. I brought this to the attention of Councilman Russo, to Chairwoman Correct. As well as to the attorney, the Fitzpatrick's, and that's all I have. Thank you.
So
Mr.
I can say,
Correct.
Madam Chair, can I have a comment on that?
Absolutely, I was going to ask you to comment.
I have received inquiries from 2 commissioners
Correct.
fairly recently about this issue. I am working on it. It's going to take me a little while, and I've told that to the commissioners who inquired. And I will have a report for the commissioners before the July meeting.
Thank you, Harold. I think we have also discussed this, Harold, myself, Vice Chair. We've discussed this with you, and you said the same thing to us. So we were just waiting for you to do your due diligence and come back with a response for everyone. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
And I think for my part, I will wait for his report as well.
Thank you. Director Recco, the staff here today, I, again, cannot speak on behalf of this entire board. I can speak to you as a resident, and I can speak to you as a commissioner myself. I do have full faith in all of you. I know that you guys would never put us in a position where we would lose our housing or put us in jeopardy of anything that is not legal. And I do believe that if anyone, as Commissioner Seitzman said earlier, has any information about any illegality, and you have all the proof, by all means, we welcome you to contact the Hudson County Prosecutor's Office, contact the Hoboken Police Department, whomever, whatever legal entity you'd like to contact, HUD. We would be glad to an open investigation, and we welcome it. I don't think anyone here has anything to hide. And I want to say, as a commissioner and as a resident, I stand behind you guys, the staff and Director Reckel. I do have full trust in you, and I know that you're doing the right thing. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Motion with you and Ms. Seitzman, because I don't think any of that is actually going down. From a personal standpoint, I've known Michael my entire life, and his character has always been top level. I'm just meeting Mr. Director, but his character also has shined through as being nothing but stellar. So I agree with you. Do all the due diligence you need to do, but I believe at the end of this, it'll wash out in the reds.
Thank you.
And I hope, I'm not sure, I'm not disagreeing with 80%. I hope everyone understands that. I don't know.
But Andrew, I also appreciate the fact that you're also doing your due diligence.
Correct.
Correct. So it's a combo piece.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think the board director guys, and I'm sure that there was someone didn't cross their eye or cross their eye here, and I'm sure that we resolved it in a way. It just didn't smell right. They're good guys. They do a good job in both their avenues. So I hope that either one of them are taking me bringing this up outside. I'm just trying to be nice to everything should be clean. It should look good. And that's really all.
Absolutely, Andrew, you are
Thank you.
1,000% right, Andrew.
Thank you, Andrew.
1,000% right.
Madam Chair?
Commissioner, thank you, guys. Harold, I don't know if you have something to say, or, because it seems like he keeps lighting up.
Oh, sorry.
Or, he may not. Vice Chair?
I just wanted to point out that Commissioner Impastato, you asked when we went to training, that we brought back all the information. So we had an amazing experience in Denver. I sent all of the training information to the chair and Lourdes. Lourdes printed out here in your packet. We can send it to you. We'll show you has some of the most important trainings that I attended. I wish you all were in the room with me when you sat and everybody around that room had the same exact issues that we did. It was during the work week. I think Barbara and the councilman, their phone was lighting up every 5 seconds because I was like, everybody's experiencing these problems when you sit in a room with other people from across the country and you sit down and you talk and you're professional, you come up with some solutions, suggestions, ideas on how to fix them. You're a different municipality, you're in different parts of the country, but the goal is the same, to fix the issues together. Some problems were somebody owed $1 million, like one person owed $1 million to the authority. And they finally evicted them after, I don't know, it's like years. So all the things that we're going through, so is everybody else.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Seitzman. I do want to put on the record.
I look forward to seeing for your personal notes and everything, what was not in the actual documents that could be printed online. So that's awesome. Yeah, I really look forward to
I also have emails that she sent that I will share with the entire board. Director Reckel, I also would like for the next meeting, now that Erica brought that up, I am planning to put a resolution forward for any commissioner that states that they want to go on trainings but do not show up and we spend the money, they will have to reimburse the authority for it. Thank you.
Motion to close?
Motion to close?
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye. All in favor? Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.